Recovery Rockstars Uncut.
Yo, you guys, welcome to Top 3 for Recovery with Recovery Rockstars. I'm here with absolute rock star Luc. Luc, what's up, man?
Hey Kevin, how you doing, man?
So give me a little French.
Bonjour, bonjour. Ça va, ça va?
Comment allez-vous?
Very good.
Yeah, thank you very much. So you're in Montreal, right?
No, I'm in Toronto.
Oh, Toronto. That's right. Okay. You're a Raptors fan?
Of course. Raptors fan, Leafs fan. Absolutely.
Favorite sport? Hit me up.
Hockey, for sure.
Yeah. Did you play?
I did, yeah. I did. I played a lot. I was on the ice at just over 2 years old. So I played a lot of hockey, and now my daughter, who's 3 years old, she's in skating lessons and she's loving it. So it's so much fun to see her, starting to get into it too.
Now, here's a question. Do you still play?
So I played men's league up until basically last year. I just got so into running that it's hard to do everything. So I kind of focused in on my running. So no, I haven't been playing much.
Gotcha. Very nice. And you're running a ton, which is so good. Had you always been a runner, or is it something you got into once you got sober?
I discovered running as a passion during my recovery. I hated running before that, and just kind of going through recovery, I picked it up, and now it's a huge passion of mine.
How long have you been sober?
So I've been sober since December 31st, 2016. So at the end of the month here, it will be 6 years of continual sobriety.
Congratulations, brother. That's amazing.
Thanks. It's been quite the journey, I'll say.
What were you struggling with?
Drugs and alcohol. I'm a retired party boy. So I drank a lot, but then when I got introduced to cocaine, that's when things really escalated for me. It was never enough just having a few beers with friends. And then when you're doing, the hard drugs like that, like you just become a different person. And it was just, my life was spiraling out of control, and it just, change needed to happen. And I'm just so grateful and thankful that I was able to figure stuff out before, it got even worse. So.
How long did you do cocaine for? Because I know that's an extremely addictive drug.
Big time. So I got probably introduced to cocaine in 2011, 2012. So that's about a good four or 5 years of some serious benders with my cocaine addiction, like 48 hours.
Yeah.
No problem.
After years of drinking and cocaine abuse, how did you get sober?
So I did a lot of therapy, and I try to moderate my drinking because I'm half Italian, right, and French Canadian, and the culture just loves to socialize. It was always like I knew I had a problem. My father struggled a lot with alcohol, so I knew it was kind of in my genes. But I never wanted to go sober ever. So I did therapy to moderate my drinking, and I did that for a while, and that wasn't working. And then I just had this amazing session with a brand new therapist, and he basically said to me that you can never be drinking again. And I was so blindsided by that, and I was actually debating him in the moment, but then I realized in my core that he had something. So I was open-minded, and I did a lot of therapy, group therapy, and frankly I did a lot of my own, and I didn't necessarily do it the right way. I struggled a lot. So that's what's made me so willing to just share my story, be open, is I want other people to learn from my mistakes, learn from what I've discovered in these 6 years that I've been kind of battling this sobriety thing, that I want others to couple tips that they can hopefully implement much earlier than I did.
Well, this is a perfect segue, because before we started this interview, you were telling me that you're really taking your time to come up with the top 3 tips that will really help somebody that somebody might not have heard before. So let's get into it. Tip number 1 to stay sober.
Tip number 1 would be proud of your sobriety. Okay, this took me 5 years, Kevin, of being sober to actually make that shift in my mind that, there's so much shame and embarrassment with this topic. And I succumbed to that. So for 5 years, I was embarrassed. I never talked about my sobriety ever. I dodged the question when it came up. I looked at it as if it was weak. I was sober because I was weak.
Mm.
And it wasn't until January of 2021 when I hit my 5-year mark that I was like, you know what, Luke, like you should be proud of that. Like that's a long time. And then when I kind of slowly became proud, I started sharing my story. It gave me this voice and it made me so much more confident. And I look back this last year since I've been so open and transparent and frankly proud of my sobriety, it's been the best year by a mile. And that's because I've been proud. And there's so many things that happen when you're proud of something. You're so much more open to making connections. You're so much more open to trying new things instead of, being ashamed. And like I like to say, I was a closet sober guy for a long time. And you don't need to be 5 years sober to be proud of your sobriety. You can do that from day one.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing on your Instagram page. I mean, there is so much inspiration. And I was actually watching one of your posts this morning, and I think it was you and your girlfriend at the time, like 6 years ago. And you were basically saying how you were there completely blacked out, drunk, not knowing what you're saying, and you're kind of leaning into her, and she's got kind of this, face of just unhappiness. And then you kind of pan forward to, I think it was 5 or 6 years later, when you guys were both dressed up and you're sober and happy. Don't get me wrong, nothing's ever perfect. You're still fighting. But I mean, you were just so real. Like, hey, the lights were on, but nobody was home. These are the moments that you had and experienced for years.
Yeah, that unfortunately was my life. The blackouts, right? I never drank alone. So I never craved it, but those blackouts and my poor girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. So there's a good happy ending. I mean, we still fight, we still have our issues, but like it's not about my drinking, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, come on, let's be real.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like we don't fight about that stuff, and it's just like it's so much better of a place. Like for us, for myself, like my 3-year-old daughter. Like I can't imagine. I can't imagine just putting myself, putting my potentially my daughter through this stuff. Like that's a nightmare. It scares me. So yeah.
Beautiful, man. All right, man. Tip number 2.
Tip number 2 is so much more than a sobriety and recovery thing. It's a growth mindset. So number 2 is growth mindset. Mindset is everything. Okay. One of my favorite quotes by Henry Ford is, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And this is so, so powerful. Sobriety isn't just about the abstinence of not using. It's about undergoing that transformation, right? That mind, body, and spirit transformation. So let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about, okay? The first example would be shift your mindset from being sorry for yourself for what you've gone through to actually coming to a place of forgiving yourself. You need to forgive yourself for everything that how dark, embarrassing, and ashamed you are. You need to actually forgive yourself and to come to the realization that everything needed to happen to bring you to this point today. So that's how I look about my past. The second one would be, instead of saying things like, I'm never drinking again, because that's scary. I never say that. Focus on not drinking today. 24 hours. Take it 1 hour at a time. I'm not drinking this hour. Huge difference.
Huge shift.
Huge. Third one, instead of focusing, and I did this for a long time in my sobriety, instead of focusing on all the things you're missing, right? The social gathering, the social lubrication, maybe the confidence you felt. It's easy to remember all the things that you loved about the drinking. But what about the hangovers, the guilt, and all that crap that came after? We quickly forget about that. So instead of focusing on things you're missing, start focusing on some of the things you're going to gain. You're going to gain so much in sobriety. So slowly start thinking about that.
Love it.
Fourth one, instead of saying things like, I'm trying not to drink, right? I said this for so many years too. I'm trying not to drink. I'm slowing down my drinking. You need to shift from saying, I don't drink. I'm not a drinker. I know that's a small subtlety, but the way that comes out of your mouth and the way your mind starts listening to that, you start to believe it. And people who hear you saying, I'm trying not to drink, my wife's giving me a hard time, like people are going to pounce all over that, and they're going to convince you to drink. But if you say, I don't drink, it's going to be full stop. That's it. So I really suggest that one as well.
Love that.
And the last one here, I know this is a pretty long-winded second answer here, but the growth mindset. This one is super, super important. And again, it took me so long to figure out. And it's like you need to realize that your sobriety is the most selfish thing you'll ever do. And by that I mean, if you're not prioritizing your sobriety as number one in your life, and you're going to continue on kind of like how I was being that people pleaser your entire life, it'll never work. It'll never work. And if it does, you're a very small percentage. You need to make that your priority. Number one, be selfish, focus on you, most likely for the first time in your life. And it'll help so, so much.
That was powerful, man. That was really good insight. Seriously. See? Number two, A, B, C, D, E, F. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
I know. I get so into it. I could go on for way longer than that.
Oh, I can tell.
We're going to do a follow-up, right?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Hit me up. Number three.
Okay, number three is you need to find a hobby. You need to find a passion, and you need to be open-minded. You're going to get so much time back in sobriety, right? You're going to get so much time back. And when you find something that you're actually really passionate about, it's going to give you so much more purpose. So for me, I went 2.5 years sober without finding that passion or that purpose. So I was kind of going through the motions and I struggled. I found running. Okay. Like we were saying earlier, I was never a runner growing up. I hated running. I got into running. I don't know. A couple of my friends were running. I got into it. And now running is become, part of my identity. I identify as a runner, and I'm not a professional runner, but I love the challenge, and I love more what it does to my mindset and my mind more than anything. It's my therapy. So for me, having that, that purpose, that thing to get me up early in the morning or go to bed early because I have a long run the next day, that's helped me tremendously with my sobriety. They go hand in hand. My fitness and my running paired with my sobriety, these are the two fundamental things of who Luc is, and I protect those two things so dearly.
Look, that's so rad. So it's actually interesting. Tell us about your IG handle.
Yeah, so my Instagram account I created just a year ago, January 2021, and the name, my wife helped me with the name. It's Marathon to Sobriety, like the number 2. And we were talking about this. It's true. It's like sobriety is a marathon. There's no shortcuts, quick fixes, to achieve sobriety. It's a marathon. It's the day in grind. It's the single moments of accountability. That's what sobriety is. So it's a journey. So yeah, I created this account, and it's given me so much life. I've connected with so many incredible people. Kevin, I know we're just getting to know each other, but I've connected with a lot of sober people, and being part of that community that I never knew existed up until I kind of leaned in and created this account has just helped me so much with my sobriety. And I've made some incredible friends, lifelong friends. And I've had a lot of fun. The best part of all of it is that it's, like I said, going back to my first one about being proud. I've never been more proud of my sobriety, and it's helped me so much.
So good. So good. That it's a pretty amazing sober community out there. So many people that are out there just supporting one another and spreading the message of hope and being there to give love and be somebody who listens and cares and is compassionate and sharing their story and inspiring others. It's, I was telling you right before we started this call that I was so tired because I was up last night. But as soon as we hop on this call, I just get so fueled and jacked up and, excited just having this conversation, because you are providing so much good insight to somebody who's listening right now, and then just seeing and feeling how passionate you are about the changes you've made in your life and what you're doing with Marathon to Sobriety. And you're doing men's coaching as well, or doing men's group. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I just kind of went on a whim. So it's been a couple months now where we're doing sober groups just for men, right, Kevin? I think you'll agree, right? We're seeing so much, women empowerment in sobriety, and that's beautiful. We love to see that. That's amazing. But I haven't seen so much just for men. So I wanted to create a safe space for men to share. And we've been doing it for a few months now, and we did it last night. And like you said, we did it. We ended at 10 o'clock, and I just felt so pumped, so inspired by some of these people I was meeting and their stories, and just, it gave me so much energy. that it's like, I shouldn't be doing them so late because now I can't go to bed. I'm all wired. I'm all pumped up.
You're ready for the next one, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you're absolutely right, Kevin. Like the community, connecting with people, because look, our family, our friends who aren't sober, but they want to support us, they don't fully understand what we're going through. And when you meet somebody who's going through something similar or has been through something similar, is on the same journey as you have that like instant connection, that instant bond. And your friends automatically, like, I'm not judging you. You're not judging me. We're in this together. I'm, pumping you up. You're pumping me up. Like it's friggin' amazing.
So amazing. So amazing. Well, Luc, man, I want to say thank you so much for coming on our top 3 for recovery. You're an absolute rock star, brother.
Thanks, man. Right back at you, Kevin.
All right, guys, go follow him. Plug your IG one more time.
Marathon, the number 2, sobriety. Marathon to sobriety.
Luc, brother, have a blessed day, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Kev.
Are you a recovering rock star? Email us, Kevin@recoveryrockstars.com.